expedite, I'm defaulting to the public interest sector comments that need to be addressed to the agenda, and I'd like to call first Sharon White to talk about and verbatimly go over the report from the time it was filed to what we've done so far.
I just want to also add that the owner of the property is in the audience if anyone has questions for Mr. Beggs also.
Okay.
This is an action report for 800-806 Brockton Ave. Friday, May 24th, a complaint was received by the Office of the Board of Health. Nature of the complaint: rats on and around dumpsters and visible rat holes, rats running into Green Street neighborhood, sticks and stones dumpsters overflowing, lids open on dumpsters at Billy's House of Pizza. This was Memorial Day weekend, so the first opportunity I had to do the inspection was the following Tuesday, May 28th, which was the first day of work again after the weekend. Conducted initial inspection of 800 Brockton Ave. Evidence of deteriorated dumpsters without lids, dumpsters eroded and rusted where rodents could enter and harbor, cardboard recycling dumpster door open, rat tunnels next to dumpsters, old rags, mops, tarps, cardboard behind building. 806 Brockton Avenue, dumpster overflowing with lids open, evidence of numerous rat tunnels next to dumpster and surrounding areas. Due to the poor conditions of the dumpsters and surrounding areas, I called the owner of the property, Kevin Beggs, to inform him of the conditions of the dumpsters and surrounding areas, and that a notice to correct order would be sent to him. May 29th, a notice to correct order was sent to owner Kevin Beggs, ordering that the dumpsters and surrounding areas be cleaned and maintained in the sanitary condition, and proper measures be taken to ensure extermination of the rodents in their harborage. June 11th, re-inspected both properties. 800 Brockton Ave, dumpsters have been replaced, covers and lids were closed, but still evidence of rat tunnels and cardboard behind the dumpster. 806 Brockton Avenue. Do people understand the two different properties of where I'm talking about? Okay. Just to give you, 800 Brockton Ave is sort of where Sticks and Stones is. 806 is next to Billy's House of Pizza. 806 Brockton Ave, lids and doors of dumpsters open, still evidence of numerous rat tunnels. Owner has contracted with Burgess Pest Control of West Bridgewater, and according to the owner, treatment began Monday, June 4, 2013. The owner, Kevin Beggs, came to the Office of the Board of Health and presented an itinerary of what steps he had already taken towards compliance. This is the list he had given me. Owner's list of steps already taken: notified all tenants of the problem and dumpster rules, lids closed at all times, bagging and tying all food trash, keeping dumpster areas clean. Contracted with Burgess Pest Control of West Bridgewater, and treatment began June 4, 2013. Had Allied Waste replaced 2 dumpsters behind 800 Brockton Ave with 2 new dumpsters. Had South Shore Disposal replace a dumpster by Billy's House of Pizza. Had American Byproducts replace a waste grease container behind 800 Brockton Ave with 1 new waste grease container. Had Envirotech replace the cover of the waste grease container at Billy's House of Pizza with 1 new cover and thoroughly clean the existing waste grease container. Removed all 3 dumpsters behind 800 Brockton Ave, cleaned and pressure washed entire area. Disposed of debris in tight plastic bags, directed both dumpster companies to notify drivers that dumpsters must be replaced with lids closed. Ordered an extra pickup of the full cardboard dumpster down on Tuesday, June 12, 2013. According to the owner's itinerary, a concrete pad was scheduled to be poured at 806 Brockton Ave on June 30, 2013. I sent a re-inspection notice to correct order for both businesses to be re-inspected July 2nd, 2013. July 2nd, re-inspected both properties. 800 Brockton Ave, cardboard had been removed, and dumpsters in surrounding areas were maintained in a sanitary condition. 806 Brockton Ave, lids and doors of dumpsters were closed. Still evidence of numerous rat tunnels. Pest control was ongoing. The owner, Kevin Beggs, and Burgess Pest Control stated that bait boxes had gone missing. Additionally, Burgess mentioned that the rats were not taking the bait, that they would need to change the type of bait. July 3rd, sent a final re-inspection notice to correct order to Kevin Beggs. July 15th, contacted the Massachusetts Department of Public Health after a visit from residents to determine what the Board of Health responsibilities are in this type of situation. Amy Reardon from the Department of Public Health Community Sanitation Program stated the procedure in this situation is to work with the owner of the property and answer residents' questions as they are called the Board of Health, inquiring about the situation. Spoke with Bob Manning, Chairman of the Board of Health, and Rick LaFawn, Town Manager, regarding what the Massachusetts Department of Public Health has said about proper procedures. Informed the Board of Health of the situation at the July 15, 2013 Board of Health meeting, which was televised in Abington cable television. July 31st, reinspection of both properties. Owner, pest control, entomologists, and residents present at the inspection. 800 Brockton Ave. Pest control found the site to be under control. Based on that information, 800 Brockton Ave was found to be in compliance. 806 Brockton Ave. Entomologists recommended more aggressive rodent control measures, including adding more bait stations on the premises and baiting the tunnels. Concrete pad has not been poured, but the dumpster has been moved in preparation. Entomologists stated that rats do not like change, that having to place new bait boxes to replace the missing ones have probably slowed the process, since the new bait boxes had become a part of the rats' normal environment before they felt comfortable using the bait boxes. Conducted site walk of the property with entomologists and noted a bucket of standing water and dripping grease from the Ansel system downpipe. Spoke to restaurant owner to remove the bucket of standing water and clean the downpipe thoroughly. Sent notice correct order to be re-inspected August 28, 2013. The health agent placed rodent entry and harborage information on the Board of Health website and the Town of Abington's website. And we have copies of it here if you'd like to have one. Spoke to each food establishment person in charge at 800 and 806 Brockton Avenue regarding the rodent issue, and sent a follow-up letter with steps for food establishments to take for rodent prevention. August 1st. Spoke to owner Kevin Beggs and told him that the rodent problem was critical at 806 Brockton Ave. The owner, Kevin Beggs, also contacted Burgess Pest Control and reiterated the same concerns. The health agent asked Burgess Pest Control to bait the tunnel sooner than the scheduled date. August 5th, contacted the owner, Kevin Beggs, and requested an itinerary report from Burgess Pest Control from the date that he hired them, showing their action plan. August 12th, called Burgess Pest Control to inquire about the progress at 806 Brockton Ave. Greg Myatt said they had removed 6 dead rats. He also said there were flies in the tunnel areas and much of the bait had been eaten. The flies in the tunnel area indicated that there was a lot of, that they were dead inside the tunnels. The health agent contacted the Massachusetts Department of Public Health to update them on the situation and to ask if there was any additional procedures that were required. August 13th, received an email from the owner, Kevin Beggs, saying that the concrete pad would be poured ahead of schedule on Wednesday, August 14, 2013, since no rodent activity had been observed during the excavation. August 15th, stopped by 806 Brockton Ave to check if concrete pad had been poured. Concrete pad had been poured and no evidence of burrows. 6 bait traps had been placed near the dumpster area. August 19th, re-inspected 806 Brockton Ave. Owner and Burgess Pest Control was present at the re-inspection. Note, the health agent was in regular contact with the owner of the property and made several calls to Burgess Pest Control to check on the progress at 800-806 Brockton Ave. The health agent also updated the town manager and the Board of Health members regularly. Related actions. During the same period of time, the Office of the Board of Health received numerous complaints from surrounding neighborhoods. In response to those complaints, the Office of the Board of Health informed each caller that the office was aware of the situation and the health agent was working with the owner to bring the properties into compliance. A notice to correct order was sent to Billy's Liquor, the property adjacent to 800 Brockton Ave, to clean the property and keep the dumpster lids closed and maintain the dumpster and surrounding areas in a sanitary condition. The health agent requested that Sticks and Stones install a door to their back door for the food preparation area. The screen door was installed the following day. Additionally, complaints were received in July by the Office of the Board of Health about a roll-off dumpster with the door open that was full of debris, including possible food sources for rodents. This was in close proximity to 800-806 Brockton Ave. The dumpster door was open. The health agent contacted the dumpster company during the time of the inspection, and the dumpster was removed from the property the following day. Another complaint was received in July about a property also in close proximity to 800-806 Brockton Ave, which resulted in citing the property owner for open bags of garbage and other sources that might attract rodents.
So, that being said, again, if you are gonna come up to the podium, I'm gonna ask you to sign in and with your name and address so I can respond back to you in case you have a question I need to respond back to. When you come to the podium, just need your name and the address you're at, just for the camera.
Sign in.
If you don't mind, please.
Yep.
And
Those on the agenda, right? Yeah, I have some petitions I want to sign. I made 6 copies of these. Yeah, here's some videos of what we had going on over there. You can watch them on computers. There's 6 of them altogether.
Are those the same ones that you gave in your own?
No, there's a whole bunch more on there.
Oh, okay.
Good evening. Anthony Hall, 27 Allen Street.
go ahead.
To the town of Abington and the concerned citizens. In May 2013, the Board of Health became aware of a heavy rat infestation at Abington Crossing Complex due to a long-term 3-party neglect. Shortly after I spoke to Sharon White about this issue, I suggested that a public notice to be sent out to the Green Street neighborhood to notify them about the rat infestation. Not to feed the birds, squirrels, other wildlife, and to be aware of rats and to work as a community to do our part in the rat removal. I was told to notify my neighbors myself, so I did. Upon my travels, it became apparent that the rats have migrated throughout the Green Street neighborhood. After speaking with numerous neighbors, they told me that they have seen rats in their yards and in their streets. This has made many people uneasy and worried about their children, pets, and homes. We, the neighbors, request that the town remove the rats out of our neighborhood, and also in the future, we request the town to use this situation as an example how a flyer or public notification will benefit the community. Thank you, Green Street neighborhood.
Anyone else?
Oh, hey. My name is Isaac Seymour. I'm at 55 Allen Street. I spoke to the person at the, what is it, Billy's. I spoke to the lady that runs a little restaurant in the strip mall. I spoke to the health department lady here. I spoke to the lady that drives around chasing the barrels, drive a red truck. Over 2 years ago, before we got the barrels, and letting them know that they were actually tunneling. You could see they're going up under Billy's. So, you know, I don't know what to take from there, and the guy's pouring the cement, but they go to tunnels, and that's what they've been doing. They convert from those tunnels, go over to the dumpster. Like I said, they go over back to that little small restaurant that's by the Sticks and Stones and the store there. I spoke to each one of those folks, so just for FYI. Okay?
You know, and I know there's some people in the audience that have seen rats just recently in the neighborhood.
Oh, they're there. I'm on Isabel, way on the other side, and I'm not talking like 1 or 2 rats, I'm talking 12. They're scurrying completely on my grounds.
They got a collar.
And it's the creepiest thing you've ever seen. So we all have to put our bird cages away, but because you guys raced it out of one area, you just brought them into all our backyards.
And now you
It's
can see
unbelievable back there. It's unbelievable. I can't control them.
I appreciate, I know, everyone have a comment. If you want to come up and address, please come up and address. Need a response or something else, please. put your name and address on this. Please, I just want to have everyone hear everything in fairness to everybody.
I found these rat problems over 2 years ago in my backyard. We have a koi pond. And we felt very responsible because we have this koi pond and we also feed all the birds. We live right on wetlands. We love our backyard. I moved in there 5 years ago. My husband's been there for 24. The last 2 years, we've been chasing rats out of our yard. And I'm not talking like, oh, once in a while. Every time I go out in the middle of the night, in the morning, early hours, we're infested with them. But now they're coming during the day. They don't care. And when you see 12 to 15 rats running across your backyard on your koi pond, you're like, well, we all have to do something. Because if I'm seeing them that much, there's got to be tons. And I can poison my whole perimeter. You know, I don't even know if that's legal to do, but I can do it. But it's just going to bring it to your house, and I don't want to do that. So someone needs to come catch them. I've got traps, but what do we do with all these dead rats? I'm not talking 1 or 2. I'm talking, if I catch 20 rats, what am I going to do with them? Put them in the town to be dumped? I don't want to pick them up, and I don't have the money to pay for exterminators in my backyard. So it's kind of giving me the hand of using poison. Well, I have a heron that comes 2 times a year in my backyard. He eats my koi, I say goodbye, and it's life. But I don't want a rat in my house. And they are getting to my property now. They're digging holes, and they're chewing plastic on my siding. I have grown vegetables back there for my entire five years, and my husband 20. And they're not eating our vegetables. They're harboring and bringing all sorts of family members with them. And the hawks can't keep up with them. So we need help.
Then Council Lady, Walters, Green Street. There's one less rat in this town today. Everybody should get a BB gun. Take one baby right here, and they'll be all gone. I guarantee it, because I got one yesterday.
I'm not recommending everyone get a BB gun.
But they were. He jumped up, he flipped around. And I hit a second one today, but I don't think I killed him.
Just wounded him.
I hope I killed him.
My name is Thomas Hall. I live on 41 Linda Street. I lived in this town 50 years. I've seen coyote, fox, deer. I've never seen a rat in my life until 2 weeks ago. I just want to hear from you people that you're going to educate yourself on this. Because really, it's not the rat problem. It's the fleas that live on the rats. It's the ticks that live on the rats. They're getting close to the park. How many of your kids play basketball down in the park? Right? Takes one flea to bite you, takes one tick to bite you, you get sick. Kids play down there all the time. They get sick, town's gonna have a real problem. I think you people should educate yourself on this and take care of the problem.
Anyone else? Come on up, please. Thank you.
I'm Trace Nichols. I'm at 21 Linda Street, and I want to say thank you because it's not an easy problem and to fix, and I see that you are doing quite a bit, and I want to recognize that. I do agree, though, that there are right now Band-Aids on a much larger problem, and I think everybody here just wants to know that you all are committed to helping us, that this is a problem that we didn't bring on ourselves, and that, you know, timing, you could say that a long time ago it would have been easier to fix because it wouldn't have been as big of a problem if people are saying that they've done it, you know, mentioned it 2 years ago. You know, it's really become intense. I, up until Tony coming to the house, thought we had chipmunks with the holes. I grew up in an area where chipmunks are everywhere, and chipmunks are, you know, a nuisance, but they don't bring the illnesses and the diseases that rats bring. Tony came and he educated us. I then did a lot of reading on my own that, you know, these aren't chipmunks, these are rats. And we had a Restapest come out and take a look and give us some advice on how to raise the shrubbery so that they're not being sheltered in that shrubbery. He told us to get rid of some things in the yard that were going to cause some more problems for us. And he said that the only way to do this is to find the bait that they're gonna eat and trap them and kill them. But my concern is I don't want to attract more into my yard. I'm trying to keep them out of my yard. And my biggest concern there is that this is a community of many, many homes in a small area. We are all so closely connected with just fences, and these rats are burrowing under the fences, and they're chewing through the wood, and they're just running through the yard, and we've cleaned up everything. That there's nothing for them out there anymore. Yet they have these patterns. They learn these mazes, and you see them in the the rat maze and in the science experiments. But that's because that's how they act. They find their maze throughout the neighborhoods, and they don't stop that. They're going to continue to look for food and water, and we who are here are aware, and we're doing what we're supposed to do because we're reading about it, we're concerned, we care about the kids, we care about the community. But there's way too many of us who aren't here. And Tony walking around and Janice giving the flyers, I'm sure they could share the stories about, just how unwilling some people are to listen. And just in the neighborhood, the adjacent properties that I have, you have people who are aware and doing what they need to do, and then you have people that aren't the least bit aware, that aren't the least bit concerned about being aware. And if I'm going to, change everything in my yard, it's to no avail if someone else is going to leave water and food and junk and trash and litter, as far as like the leaf litter and the sticks. And I think we all want to know that the town is committed to educating, to enforcing. The things that you put on the website are incredibly important, but how many people have read them in the neighborhood? How many people are actually going to follow that without having that enforcement? And that's what I think many of us are here wanting to know, that you are committed to helping, because we didn't bring this on ourselves. This is something that if it had been found earlier, then it probably wouldn't be as bad as it is. And we just want to know you're committed to helping us, that you're going to enforce the necessary actions to make this, to fix this. Thank you.
Anybody else? Please come up.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Janice Guinan. I live on Linda Street, and I'm responsible for the flyer.
Thank you.
And I had no idea until Tony showed up at my doorstep that we all had such an enormous problem. I guess I have one basic question, which is, I think Sharon, well, first, thank you for all the efforts you've done to help alleviate the problem at the business end of things. I heard you say that your role is to answer residents' questions.
When they called in the office, yes, we would explain to them, because we had a lot of calls saying that they were seeing rats around Sticks and Stones and then Billy's House of Pizza, and then going out into the streets adjacent to that. And we were explaining to them that we were aware of it and that we're trying to work with bringing it into compliance.
So it sounds like there are rules and regulations for businesses. Are there any similar rules and regulations relative to the residential area that need to be enforced?
What it is if rodents are found on an owner-occupied home, it's the owner's responsibility to abate the nuisance or abate the problem.
So we shouldn't expect any help from the town?
There's very good educational pieces. I actually brought there should be 25 of those household things that I put on the website. I made copies of it. They should be up at the corner.
They were, we passed them on.
Oh, okay.
They took them out.
There is, you know, one of the things I've learned is, you know, as far as not allowing them to have a food source, not allowing them to have water. And to me, they shouldn't be staying in your, on your property if that isn't there, because they need to try to find that.
So that's good news. It sounds like everyone needs to get rid of their bird feeders. And we've got a good turnout here tonight, but whose responsibility is it to let the residents who are not here and who don't watch cable know that?
If I take my birds' source food away and take down my pond, I don't know what I'd have to do with that water source. I mean,
So whose responsibility is
I want
it?
to make sure every one of my
As
neighbors
far
is
as
going to
what?
help us.
It's nice that you have educational materials, but whose responsibility is it to make sure that everyone in the neighborhood gets those educational
Well, that's why we put them up on the town website.
It's not everybody's going to.
Not everyone has internet.
I brought copies here tonight.
So there are no plans at this point to do any sort of notification of everyone in the neighborhood?
Not to my knowledge right now.
Okay,
Not to my knowledge.
all right. I have a second.
Whenever I get a complaint,
It's important, ladies and gentlemen, to understand, before Sharon goes on, that every one of you can make a phone call to the Board of Health office and file a complaint about a neighbor, about a business, about anything else that's going on. One of the primary functions of what this Board of Health office does is to go out and investigate properties for lots of reasons. Not just because they saw a rat, but because someone's grasses is too high, someone has too much trash in their property, someone has too many loud vehicles running on their property. We address all of those questions.
All right, so any concerns we have, those of us who are educated about bird feeders, we should report our neighbors if we see that they still have filled their bird feeders. Is that what you're saying?
That is true. I think
Okay.
out of this, something will come out about this. What that is yet, I don't know.
And that's fair enough because you're just still
Because
collecting information.
something will come out, and it probably won't be addressing your neighborhood, it'll be addressing the town as a whole. It won't be just addressing I don't want to fingerprint anything. I just want to get the information out as best as possible. So if there's
Right.
a way for me to put an article in the local papers to express my concerns about people and being helpful with their neighbors, not by doing this, I'd be more than happy to put an article out in the paper to do that. Excuse me.
That's fair enough.
So what are we gonna do, rat on our neighbors?
It's not ratting in your neighbors, sir.
I think the town needs to help you. I think.
You know what I think the problem was? Is the neglect of the business owner over there in the corner for so many years. He's letting his guys over there run a business with trashy dumpsters and.
I'd like
If
you
you
to
watch
come
my
out.
videos, you'll see how bad it is.
I'm just going to make one more comment and then I'll cede the floor. And that is, I'm concerned about some people in our neighborhood who will not be able to afford the cost of extermination. It's going to be hundreds of dollars. We have people, 300? We have people in our neighborhood who will not be able to afford that. They're on very limited incomes. They're going to have to make a decision of maybe they'll eat less food in order to exterminate these rats, or maybe they won't be able to afford to do that. And so I would like you to think about, you know,
still see a lot of live rat activity.
it's an infestation. It's an infestation that goes throughout the neighborhood. So anyway, thank you very much for your attention.
Excuse me 1 second, just to be fair again. If we can have one conversation at a time, because I am trying to record this to make sure I'm capturing all, and when more than one voice in the background, the microphone goes nuts and we lose perspective. So please, I want to address everybody's concern, I want to listen to everyone, so please go ahead.
Well, after I sat down and I heard Janice asking the direct questions, I realized my error in making an emotional plea, asking that you will enforce and that you are committed to helping us. Janice's questions let me know that I need to be more direct. Mr. Manning, I wanted to let you know that I do agree with you. The Board of Health is here for a reason, and that you should call the Board of Health and file a complaint. I have done that, and through my experience with the Board of Health, filing a complaint, concerned about standing water, concerned about mattresses and couches and TVs and different things that have been left in the yard adjacent to mine. It was a very difficult experience working through with the Board of Health. It was very difficult. And I had that neighbor knock on my door and be very upset with me for making that phone call because it was disclosed that I was the one who called.
Is that during my tenure?
Your name was there, but I don't recognize you.
I've been 3 years, I don't know how long.
It was a woman with blonde hair.
What?
It was a woman with blonde hair, but I believe I might have spoken with you on the phone. It was within the last year. And so I'm wanting to ask questions and continuing what Janice has said. When I call and ask for someone to please enforce the fact that there is piles of sticks in the yard adjacent to mine, and I'm told to go ask them to remove it. And I'm told by the Board of Health that it's my responsibility to go ask the neighbor. And so I'm not okay with that. When there's rats and I'm not wanting to spend hundreds of dollars that we're going to have to spend to bring bait into my yard to attract the rats into my yard to get them, when the other neighbors are not doing that and the rats have a colony and they're just continuing to reproduce. Tony shared the facts about the reproduction. I'm very disappointed for hearing Janice asking you the direct questions and hearing the responses to them, because what I'm hearing is that you want it to be our problem and our fix, and that's not okay. When we read about this when I read about this online, there's multiple aspects of the municipality that need to be working together. Enforcement is a huge piece of this. And if Board of Health is not willing to enforce and tell people you cannot do this, I don't care how uncomfortable it is for you. I'm sorry, it's uncomfortable for us too, having the rats. I don't want this to be something that you are not willing to do because it needs to be done. And so if Board of Health is not gonna enforce that these things that are gonna get rid of this rat problem as a community, then who is? That's my question.
Can I answer some of that? First of all, I don't ever remember talking to you about,
I'm at 21 Linda Street. I called with a property adjacent to mine. There was a woman with blonde hair that I had seen personally, but I didn't see the person who came out to the
I
properties.
have no idea who that is, just because I'm the only one that does inspections.
I'm an intern, I've only been here 2 months, so it's not.
This is I'm hesitant to share the property that I complained about because this is publicized. It's on cable. I'm not really wanting to put myself in that position again. It was very
I
uncomfortable.
don't believe I've ever talked to you about it.
I have. I've talked to you.
You have?
Yes, you were upset. Whoever I talked to on the phone, they shared your name. I believe I talked to you. You were upset with me because I came across very strongly and intense, and I was told that by the person I spoke to that you had never been talked to like that before. I'm trying to tone it down right now and be respectful, but I'm very upset with the rat problem.
Absolutely not. Let me just finish something. Any inspection, complaint that people are concerned about, whether it's be standing water or someone with broken bags of garbage or anything
Colonies underneath
you
sheds,
can call,
trash.
you can make it anonymous. You don't have to give your name. You can make an anonymous complaint. I would go out and do an inspection. One of the key pieces that we have to find is not only educating people to, not leave food sources and stuff like that out, we need to find the sources of where these rats are coming from to begin with. Because there's other sources besides just these dumpsters.
I agree with that.
So it's partly trying to find the source.
Who is?
More than happy.
Do you have dates of when you called or recollection is when you have called the Board of Health office?
It was within the last year. I don't have the dates on me right now. It was within the last year. Someone came out and they stood in the back of my porch. They stood in my porch. I left the gate open so that they could come out and stand on my porch. But I don't want to take any more time because you asked to keep it to 3 to 5 minutes. But what I am asking very specifically, because I realize I have to ask this specifically, is who is going to make sure that people are doing what they're supposed to do? You're saying it's the financial burden of the homeowner. You're saying it's the responsibility of the neighbors to, you know, knock on doors and educate and make sure. But who will make sure that after the homeowners do that, who's going to make sure that they're taking the bird feeders down? That's what I want to know.
All I can say to answer that, if there is a concern of a neighbor that you feel is attributing to rat infestation based on not understanding what would be a way to abate it by either, you know, education or whatever, I'd be more than happy to go out and do an inspection. And if there's something that needs to be educated or written up for them to correct, I will do it. That's why I brought up the 2 other complaints that we've had in this summer months that was in the area that would also have been a possible source for rodent infestation.
Because of my prior experience, I apologize, but I'm not fully trusting that what you're saying is going to happen because it didn't happen in my situation. There's still trash out there. There's still barrels full of water and sticks. It's still a mess. It's a mess. And it was not enforced. And so that's why I don't trust that what you're saying is going to happen because it didn't happen in my situation prior to this.
Hi, my name is Tricia DeSharon, and I live at 35 Olsen Street. I just have a couple of comments. I just heard a question from a member of the board asking for the date of the phone call. I would like to ask you, don't you log in your calls? Who called, the date, the time, what was the subject matter of the call to the health department? That should be part of your operating procedures. So at least you can document who it was that answered the phone and what was the date and what was the time. And was there any follow-up and resolution? And what I'm hearing here, which is totally unacceptable, and I don't think we'll have any problem in pushing this as far as we have to. The residents are not going to pick up the bill for getting rid of the rats that were infested into our neighborhood because of the restaurants and that were at fault. We're inheriting something that wasn't taken care of, and we're not going to pay to pick it up, because as everyone is coming up here and saying, if I do it and the guy next door to me does it, but the guy 5 houses down, you're not going to get rid of them. So you better put a plan together and see that you come back to us with a plan of action, stating the problem, the date, how you're going to fix it, and how it's going to be an ongoing process until we never see another rat in the Green Street area. That's how I feel about it. And this is a small group, and I know how big that neighborhood is there, because I've lived there for over 40 years. And if we have to, we'll go to the newspapers, we'll go to the State Board of Health, we'll push and push and push until you do what you have to do. And one of the things you're going to have to do is pick up the tab.
Yeah. Income and taxes.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Beggs. It's been mentioned a few times. I own the property at 800 and 806 Brockton Ave, and I'm responsible for managing the restaurants and the other stores in the center. And the first time I had heard about the rats was this spring, and Sharon had contacted us, as she said, on May 28th. And from that point on, we've been working with our exterminator, with an exterminator. I got them involved. They made the first treatment on the first week of June, and we've been working as hard, I think, as we can to correct the problem on our property. I want the people here to know that we're your neighbors as you are ours. And I personally am very concerned about it, to the point where we've done everything that I think we can to pick up our dumpster areas, get them changed. They weren't in good shape, and I believe they are today, and they'll stay that way. I think we've done a little extra along the way, and I intend to continue to do that. If anyone has a problem, you're welcome to come through our property anytime, take a look at what the situation is. But as I say, I think we've turned around a lot of things. We have 99% of the problem taken care of on our property now, and we'll continue to work with the Board of Health as we need to. Any questions? Yes.
Could you share the bait that's successful? Is part of the problem is finding the bait that's successful? When you say that have been some that are killed?
The exterminator used a standard bait box with their normal bait that they would use to take care of this situation. It was a little tougher problem for them, they said, than they expected at first. So they changed, and they've gone from a solid, hard bait that they would put in the bait boxes to pellets, and they've dusted burrows. And that has taken care of, as I say, 99% of the problem. On our, I don't know, we didn't have this problem 2 years ago. The first I heard about it was this spring. And again, because the place needed to be improved upon, I think that they found a haven. It came on fast, as far as I can tell. I found out it was the weekend after, or the week after Memorial Day, and I was shocked to find that we had such a problem, and that's why we went after it the way we did. Yes?
Kevin, I walk my dog around your strip mall every morning, and I still notice that the screen doors are not closed every night on Sticks and Stones and the little breakfast place, I don't know the name of it. There are bread deliveries in the morning, so that bread is just sitting there in the morning, every morning.
This is out back of Sticks and Stones, because I know they have a locker with a sign there, put the bread in this locker.
Well, maybe that's changed within the last week or so, but before that, that bread was sitting out there every single morning.
I heard about bread sitting out, and
how are you informing the people that are eating at those restaurants? Like, those restaurants have to be rat infested, they have to be. So how are you informing those people that are eating at those restaurants that there is a problem?
We sent a letter out to every single restaurant explaining, that I have actually a copy of it, of making suggestions. They have to have, every restaurant has to have an integrated pest control program within the restaurant, which means a pest control person comes out usually on a monthly basis, and more often if needed, to do any sort of education and abatement of problems they find in the restaurant.
Well, Sticks and Stones in their back door has a gap that big under their door, and they do not shut that screen door.
The door should be shut. They just put the screen door on probably a week ago.
It's been on there for a while, and I've never seen it shut. Every single morning I walk by there, it's open.
In the morning?
In the morning.
Is that the wooden one, or was it the
No,
one
it's the wooden one, but there is a gap on that steel door about that big and deep. I walk there every morning. I have the last 6 years, so I'm very well aware of the area.
When I went and looked at the new one they put on about a week ago, I did not notice any gap where when the solid door is shut with the screen door. I did not.
The screen door.
What's that?
I'm sure if the screen door is closed, yes, but when that screen door is wide open, it is every morning.
So they should not have it wide open by any means. Yeah.
and I can follow up with them on that.
I'm concerned about
I
where
will.
the rat problem's coming from. I live at 65 Green Street. I'm right at the top of the street. I have a huge rat problem right now. I've had exterminates over to my house twice. I found a rat in my house. So it's a huge, huge issue. Sticks and Stones was throwing food down into that ravine and trash down into that ravine for months. And that's when the rat infestation started.
I found trash down there. I have not found food. We cleaned that up and went after it, and we're going to keep it clean. It's going to be treated monthly to keep the weeds from growing back, and then we'll keep the debris out of there from there.
So,
I have not found food.
it's great that you got our local businessman to do his job, a little late, all right? But now he did his job, and now, because you didn't educate us neighbors, we have a problem that is now our problem. So thank you for finally getting your tenants to do what they're supposed to do. But it really should have been done years ago, or this woman wouldn't be paying it. Now, we have to pay for it, but all you did was chase it out of his pocket into our pocket. And we can't afford this, they're destroying our property. I mean, you have no idea how much money it's gonna cost just to close and seal every burrow that they finally found in our homes. That's a lot of money. And if, you know, taking birdseed is a very serious problem on our neighborhood, because I don't know about anyone else, but I love my birds. So now you're telling me to live without a comfort of home because you chased these rats, and you know, it's not your fault that the Board of Health let down the fact of educating the neighborhood that there was a problem and we need to be aware of it and get prepared. And you didn't give us that opportunity. We can't afford to take care of this. And now we're back to him, but he can't give us the money. We need someone to catch these things.
Yes.
We all gonna put traps in our backyard? I don't think we can do it. I don't think as, you know, a single family with 2 people working has time to doing a, you know, a rat catch. We need exterminators on the high end, on that whole block, that whole neighborhood, because all we're gonna do is chase it to Whitman, and they're gonna have a problem. We need to catch these guys, kill them, and get rid of them, but we can't afford it. So I'm glad that your property owners, but they need to take it more serious, and so don't we. I'm guilty, I'm feeding my birds. You know, like serious. If I'd known, I really wouldn't, my birds might be able to come back this fall. But now they can't. We have to get rid of birds that have been migrating in our neighborhood, and deer, and all sorts of things, just to get rid of a problem that we could have minimized.
The squirrels are gone.
The squirrels, it's
They're gone.
amazing. It's amazing. And when you see a dead hawk because they eat something poisonous, it's pretty bad. And this is not gonna go away. Someone's gotta catch them and kill them and get them out, not chase them somewhere else. That this man had to do. You made him do that. You made this man chase him to us without educating us. And I don't think that that was fair to him or us. We need the businesses on our neighborhood. We need them to thrive. We don't need their rats, but we need our Board of Health to help us do our job too. And he did it.
pay to get rid of the rats.
I live at 100 Green Street, and yesterday afternoon at about 3 o'clock, a rat ran across the road. And I'm a widow with a disabled son.
I think you're forgetting one thing though. I think with all these traps and all the stuff that you're talking about, you're forgetting that a lot of us have dogs.
And
children.
And children.
Small children. Oh yeah, forget about that. I mean, I don't want the poison around the dogs or the cats. I know you have one each. You know, it's like, I don't want the poison in my yard. But how else do we get rid of these rodents?
And it is a sure bet. You'll kill rats with poison. I mean, traps and drama or poison. That's what they tell you to do on the inside. That is our resource right now.
Another question too. As far as you folks in the Board of Health, those, if you know Walmart, or where Walmart is, those big concrete things there, what's those? Isn't that sewer?
No, it's overrun.
Overrun. It has to go somewhere. Once again, these are like Boston rats where they like hang around the water. You got wetlands as far as around.
The whole thing out to the right of
Bingo. I mean, that's where they fester at. Like I said, you can't sit in the park in Boston by the water because the rats. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? But
I worked at Sullivan's for many years out in South Boston. So you ever walk along the rocks of the beach, you would see as you're eating your hot dog and your french fries, the rats coming out, and you can feed the rats if you wanted to. And we treated them with puck hunt and DDT for 12 years, and there was still more rats coming out of that.
Exactly.
Every day.
Yeah, you have to have one area right now, take care of the problem now, and you won't do it for the rest of the town.
Craig, 375 Groveland Street?
Yes, sir.
I did some snow removal up in Abington Glen, in Chestnut Glen, northern part of the town, this winter. You get near the dumpster with a truck with a plow, and the rats just come running out by the dozens. So it's a town-wide problem that we have. Town-wide.
Could you address, what street address was that again?
That was Chestnut Glen Apartments and Abington Glen Apartments.
Yes, ma'am. Please come up.
Hi, Cheryl Cunningham, 63 Linda Street, Abington. I have a neighbor on either side of me who are responding differently to the rats. One has shot 5 rats, and I didn't believe him. And I have no reason for him to lie. He called the Board of Health, and I guess he was told, what did you do with the dead rat? Okay? So he has shot 5 rats. I've had 2 people come to my house for play dates for my 8-year-old, and they have seen rats. The person on the other side of me says, no, this is probably fake and it's not happening.
So your neighbor next to you
Doesn't think this is real.
okay.
Okay, one day I was at on stage dance with my daughter, and a woman came in and said, a rat just ran across the street behind Mary Lou's coffee. I thought she was out of her mind. I have not seen a rat, and when I do, you're gonna probably hear the screaming.
Anyone else? Please come up.
Sorry, we got a problem, man, huh?
Excuse me?
I said, sorry, we got a problem. Yeah.
So my name is Nicole Allen, and I live on 97 Green Street. And my husband and I are first-time home buyers, and I think we're just starting to realize how large the responsibility is. So we appreciate this learning experience, and we definitely want to help contribute to reducing the problem. I was just actually using my iPad to look at the town website, which I admit I'm not frequently a user of, but I will be now. And I noticed that the information you posted is posted around July 31st or something like that. And I was just wondering if there was information that we might have missed that was posted earlier than that. And is there any specific responsibility that we would expect if there's a concern issued that would affect the broader community? Should we expect to see information right away, or is there a certain timeline that we should sort of, if one of us were to issue a complaint that affected the neighborhood, when should we expect to learn more about it?
Well, you would call the office and make a complaint, and I would go out and look into it.
Mm-hmm.
And based on whatever the situation, you know, if it was something that warranted further information on a large scale, it would be put out.
Okay.
If not, it would be handled as well as the property.
Okay, so we will be paying attention, but I would ask, I think everyone might agree in this situation. I understand you were under a lot of pressure as well, but I would have liked to see a little bit more information posted, at least on the website, for those of us who are web savvy. And I do appreciate the neighbor who went around to pamphlet and the petition.
My name's Algernon. I've been in that neighborhood for 53 years. We've never had a rat problem in that neighborhood. To all you homeowners, I shot about 8 already. And what I do with them, I put them right in the Abington rubbish so they can take care of the problem for me. Walmart, anywhere you can buy a pellet gun. You gotta be 18 years of old, you don't need an FID card or nothing. Buy them, just be responsible with them. Don't let the kids get at them. It's the only way you're gonna get rid of them. Shoot them.
Anyone else? Is there any other appropriate public comment?
I'm going to go up one more time. I'm just going to make my comment here, and I think that, I hope I speak for the majority of the people, but we're not going to pay for this individually. So there has to be a plan, a proactive plan going forward from the Board of Health. However you decide to get rid of the rats, it's going to be settled and paid for by you. Otherwise, I think that you know, the town may be looking at a class action suit from our neighborhood, because we're not gonna pick up the tab for something that we inherited, because something wasn't addressed and notified to the people that needed to know. So you need to take everything that you hear in today very seriously, and when I hear, is it Sharon? It sounds like Sharon is, you know, following her procedures, saying that you have to call. But if you're not, if you don't have a phone log, what good's the phone call?
We do have a phone, we keep track of complaints.
Okay,
Every
so
complaint that comes in is logged in.
it's logged in.
So we have
So
those
all
records
these
now?
phone calls are somewhere in a file cabinet.
We have a log of how many people called in. A lot of them were repeated to do with the Billy's Pizza and the Sticks and Stones.
So you didn't take down the individual
We have taken
names?
down, I have taken down some of the addresses so we could track the areas.
Some isn't
But
enough.
some, but.
You have to do
We
all.
have to call. I'm just saying that whenever there is a complaint made, you have us go out and look at something, we make that complaint, it is logged in.
Okay, it's logged in, and maybe the day you go there, you don't see a rat. But the next day when you're not there, there's 4 running around. So, you know, we're willing to work with you, but we're not willing to pay for it.
Want to come up?
I'm not gonna come up. I just wanted to make my comment.
Can I have your name and,
Julie Murphy, 123 Green Street.
okay.
I think that it's gonna take every single one of us to go around and get addresses of everyone who doesn't keep up with their lawn, who doesn't keep up with their trash, who throws bags of trash everywhere. I have neighbors I've called about cars being abandoned in their yards, and no one will take my information unless I give my name. I don't want my psychotic neighbor to know that I called on.
Who do you call? Who do you call?
I called the Board of Health. I have. Okay, line, I have. So I'm not gonna call on you if you have trash, because God knows what you're gonna do.
But we will take anonymous complaints.
Okay, so you take the complaint, and then what happens?
We go out and investigate.
Okay, and then if you investigate, nothing happens, so I continue to call?
No, if there,
So what
if the
happens?
complaint is warranted, if it is violations found, a notice to correct order goes out to the owner of that property.
But what about me that call? My neighbor that I personally call on, I would not trust alone with
No,
anybody.
but you can call anonymously, you don't have to give your name or.
I think that's false.
What's
That's
that?
false. That's false, because when I called, they asked for my name. I wouldn't take complaints unless I gave my name.
That is absolutely not correct.
That's correct, but that's not the issue, that's a car issue, now we're talking about rats. So who's gonna walk around and knock on everyone's door? Because I'm not doing it, and I'm sure you're not gonna do it. No
It's
one's
a
gonna do
big
it.
neighborhood that everybody has to.
I did it.
I mean, you do it, I mean, if you're not supposed to clean up your trash, that's not my job.
You know, I think the bottom line was that you should have just sent the flyer on when I asked you in the beginning. And it would have just, and everybody would have known, you know? You gave me an extra 30 days on top of 60, there was 90 days, you know?
Talking a big loss right now.
You should have just sent the flyer out. That's how simple it would have been.
See, but what are you folks gonna do? Because you know we elect you peoples.
I'm sorry?
What are you guys gonna do as a Board of Health as far as we're concerned? Because you know what I'm saying? We can't keep on, you know, I mean, we got neighbors, like you say, who you got the barrels and put the trash in, but you can't pile it up and leave the trash open. You got to close the top. So what are we gonna do? Hey, we got to do. I mean, what does the lady do with the red truck? Does she see that as well?
It's not up to us to police our neighbors.
We can't do that.
We're not
I mean,
It's your job to
you know what I'm
police
saying?
people that are not compliant.
We just wanna know.
I need to see that, I need to know that they're not complying.
Well, these people are saying they've made complaints and nothing's been done.
I cannot.
Where are your records of the phone calls? They should be here at the meeting so that we can see it, they're public record.
I didn't know I was supposed to bring them, I'm sorry. I brought an action
Another
plan.
instance of you failing to
No, wait a
do your job.
second. There was no reason to bring the public record to this meeting. There's no reason to bring every public record to any meeting. If you wanted to see the public record, you could have called and requested the public record, and I would have had it brought here. I'm not saying no, it's not there, and I'm not saying no, I wouldn't have brought it. I would have brought it. I don't come to the meeting and empty everything out of the office to have this meeting, sir. I'm not
Every
arguing with you.
person that
though.
has said they called, she said, oh no, you haven't called.
That's right.
I don't recognize some of these calls, I'm sorry. I don't know if other people in my office have talked to them, but I don't recognize abandoned, when you said about junk cars, I don't recognize that.
Maybe it wasn't you.
What's that?
Maybe it wasn't you that I talked to. I don't know who I talked to.
I'd be glad to help you out, but I don't recognize it. I'm
How many
sorry.
people work in Board of Health?
Every day.
Just 2 people. I was chief clerk myself.
Well, it sounds to me then there's gotta be some cross-training in that office, because if the person that picks up the phone doesn't know to write it down, then there's gotta be more education within your office and have some cross-training so that the procedures are followed no matter who picks up the phone.
I want you to understand that as a new member of the Board of Health, this is the first time I've ever heard of a rat situation other than our last meeting.
Years ago, come on.
Just bear with me. None of us are in the office.
You called 2
We-
years ago?
Those of us are not, we're not in the office from here down, the 5 of us. The Board of Health, Sharon and her clerk, Mary.
So when you
That's the
call,
office
you gotta get the
call.
person's name now. Whoever you talk to at Board of Health,
Just
make
so
sure you
that
get their
you're
name.
thinking that we're missing something.
And document the
I'm
time
answering
and the
phone
date.
calls. I have a job.
So you're saying this is the first time you ever heard of this?
Yes.
This is the first time? So
That's
Sharon
not-
has-
Sharon, why did you tell the rest of the board?
That's not true.
Not at this meeting, no,
Oh,
but
okay.
what I'm trying to say is that this isn't something that it appears has been up for discussion with the Board of Health. I only came on in April.
It's been on for 2 years.
She's been on for 2 years and.
She's saying we haven't had an issue with rats before until this situation. That's what she's saying.
And then when we were
He called
presented at
2
the
years
meeting.
ago.
Look, I know I spoke to you folks. I know it. I spoke to you before we got the barrels. The barrels haven't been here 2 years, right? The lady in the red truck.
When you say you're speaking to us folks, what I'm trying to say
I know.
is that
I know.
if you call the Board of Health, it's not us that you speak to. We meet twice a month. It's the office that Sharon and Mary are in that you're calling.
Got you.
So if you're looking at us as to one of us didn't answer or take a phone call
No, but
correctly,
we
I'm
do
just trying to
have a
clarify
channel
that
of
that's not
command
an
problem,
issue.
because I did call. When I first saw the dozen rats,
Okay.
it was in 2011 I called. And I was told this: you are the property owner, and you are responsible for removing the rats off your property. That is what I was told,
Unfortunately.
and that is what I did. But you didn't tell me that.
The way that the state housing code is written, that is what it says.
But you
in
didn't
it.
record that I called, so when my other neighbor called a few months
He
later
called.
and said, oh wow, now we have a couple of calls, you're not helping us with all this technology. You're not helping us make all the dots to all of our homes that have been infested now.
And the other thing
So
that
you
I'm
have to
hearing,
help us and correct that
Donna
problem
and
within your
Margaret
office.
don't know about a rat problem or any other problem or too many cars or trash. So what that says to me, you're not working as a team, you're not talking to each other. That's what you say when you say you don't know about it. You're not a team.
You're misconstruing it. It's, to me, it's like you're not a neighborhood. You
Oh,
know?
we're not?
Like,
We're not a neighborhood.
We're not?
We're not a neighborhood.
Okay, so that's what I hear. You said the wrong thing, lady.
You guys are the ones that are.
I don't think you know that. Why don't you resign?
All right, hold on. I'm not gonna,
If you're helping here, representing problems.
It's not funny, it's not funny. Stop laughing.
Are they the ones, so the people that are not here in your neighborhood are the ones that are not listening to you?
They might be elderly, not able to get here tonight. They might not know to be here
People
tonight.
work
If
second
this
shift.
person didn't put a flyer at my house, I wouldn't know that anyone else was having my same problem.
Yeah.
And I've been having it for years, and these people I know walk by my house with their dogs. Do they wanna know I'm gonna go poison my neighbor because I keep my cats indoors?
Yeah, and I think it's awful what you're dealing with. I absolutely do.
So, but it is disappointing that here you are starting in April and you don't know about a problem. Well, you have you checked out Walmart? You need to like help us chase this source down, and you're not even talking to each other.
I don't think
get it.
guns and violence and altercations with neighbors are not the way to solve this either.
Well,
Oh, well, what?
I mean, I appreciate what you're
All right,
saying.
maybe
Help us reach out to all our neighbors of the town.
You know what, Donna, why don't you leave your name and number, and when we kill the rats, we'll put them on your front lawn.
Yeah.
Actually, and where I live, dealing with another infestation.
If it was Presidential Acres, you'd clean it up quick.
But you're taking well care of that. Taking good care of that problem too. No, you're taking care of your problem in your neighborhood.
Does anybody here live in Abington on the board?
Is there discussion about this?
Excuse me?
Does anybody
Hold
here
on.
live in Abington on the board?
Everyone in this board lives in Abington.
Yeah.
We all live
Sharon
in
too?
Abington, we're in
Yeah, you live in
No.
Abington too?
No, Sharon doesn't, and it's not required.
But just making sure.
But the board's up.
You know,
You had to vote us in. You had to vote us in, so we had to live in the town. We don't get appointed, we gotta get voted in.
Sharon invited me up to the meeting, and I was threatened by the pest control
By
up
who?
there. I was invited up to the meeting with the owner,
Uh-huh.
up in the parking lot there on the 31st. And the pest control guy threatened me up in the parking lot, called me a fat bee, mocking me behind my back for no apparent reason at all. So this is the people that are dealing with the rat problem up there too. And then when he says he had traps stolen, did he report them to the police? And second of all, they need to be reported to the environmental police because there's poison in them. So if 7 traps were stolen off the property up there, they needed to have been reported. And then everybody in the neighborhood that I went to and asked, I said, can you believe it? Someone stole the traps up there. And you know what they told me? Who the hell would steal those? Who would reach in there and steal a trap?
Someone who can't afford to buy their own and trying to catch the rats in their backyard, the poor sucker.
Yeah, I don't believe that, because I talked to a
So
lot of
look,
people.
are we just up here complaining, getting stuff off our chest? Are you folks really gonna, like,
What's your to-do list,
what's
Anthony?
happening? What's gonna come from this? Cause we got some complaints.
Nothing, it's our problem.
So what's
Yeah, when are
happening?
we gonna
No, as a board of health, I mean, as far as, we got
Made
a
it
problem.
clear,
in
it's
our
our
area.
problem.
You know
No,
what
it's
I mean?
not our problem,
See, don't
it's
forget
their
our
problem.
last-
So you guys got anything that you can say that you can do to help us out with what's going on?
Well,
As a board?
Or 22.
the first thing I can say to all of you is that
I knew that.
it's not like, it's not gonna be addressed,
Right.
okay? It will be addressed. We will have a discussion. We start meeting twice a month in September. If we have a discussion about this issue, it will be public record that we're having a discussion about this record. You're all welcome to come back and hear the discussion about the record. So that will take place. It has to be developed, because you just can't plop into overnight, come up with a game plan. You have to work at it to put it together. In the meantime, I hate to say this, but you need to have due diligence. I am not asking for squealers, I am not asking for squatters, I am simply asking that you call the Board of Health office and complain if there's a complaint. If you have a legitimate complaint and you don't want to leave your name, you call up and say, as far as I know, at 27 Humes Road, there are huge stick piles and rats coming out of them. And that's all you have to say, and that gets reviewed and looked at and will be addressed in our complaint list. We do keep track of every complaint, and we do have a report for every complaint. That's part of the board's requirements. So, no, we don't bring all of our public records to all of our meetings. That would be not functional to do that.
But unfortunately, out of that, we had restaurants up there that totally neglected their area, and it overspilled into our area. Now we gotta play the game with each neighbor, calling everybody in. That's just silly.
Why are we
I'll tell you.
responsible?
I'm simply gonna, I'm not gonna say who's responsible. I'm simply gonna say this. As a property owner, we are all responsible for our own property. Hey, I have given everyone here an opportunity to speak. I'm asking for the same reason, okay? I'm not asking for any more than I've offered. As a property owner in this town, like everybody else, I'm responsible for my properties. If I have mices or mices or rats or I have infestation of termites, I don't call the town because 3 neighbors down hasn't touched their building for 14 years and is generating 50,000 termites that walk down my street and infest my ledge. I had to cut my ledge out and replace it. That doesn't get done. I'm not saying it's the same situation. I'm simply saying that according to the state regulation, as long as the town regulation, I think, and I'm not quoting verbatim because I haven't got it down exactly, or I would give you the exact quote. All I'm saying is that the state has stipulated that each homeowner is responsible for his own property and his own issues on his property. That's not to say that if there's a reasonable cause outside the scope of that, that something else can't be addressed. I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna try to address that. I'm gonna bring this to the town selectmen. I'm gonna bring this to the town manager. I'm not gonna just simply leave this at the board level. This has to be addressed up. I can't simply say the Board of Health is gonna do this. And when you say we're gonna pay for it, ladies and gentlemen, who do you think's gonna pay
We're gonna all
for it?
still pay for it.
Everyone
So
pays
give
for
us
this,
an
including
allotment.
everyone who
Help
doesn't
us.
have it.
Help us make it a town-wide thing. I'll pay extra
I
taxes
will
to get rid
promise
of
every
rats.
person in this room here, I will push this right up to the Board of Selectmen and the town manager. You have my word. Okay? I'm not doing a political speech here. I got 2 more years. I've done 2 terms. I'm done. I've done my
That's what we
share.
need. We need a voice.
I will do that, okay? I will make sure it's public record when I'm doing it, so if you want to attend, you're welcome to attend. As chairman of the Board of Health, I will raise this up to the town selectmen and the town manager. I will raise your concerns. I will try to, as best I can, address what was addressed tonight's meeting to them as soon as I can get that arranged. In the meantime, our board will have discussions. They are public, just like this one is. You're welcome to come to that also. Those are the things I can do tonight. And those are the things I can't say to each of you that I will do tonight. And I'm speaking for the board. I'm not allowing the board, I'm speaking for the board because as the